Is the things to kind of consider is what type levels of care that you might need down the road, based on things that are unskilled, which most of us would probably need some assistance with ultimately. And then if there's healthcare issues, the levels of care. Do you want to get care at home? What can you do to get care at home? If you have to go to a facility, then what alternatives are there for that and the cost for that? And also to look at family history of any health issues, because when you have family history of health issues, there is a greater potential that you might get those.
That's right.
So,
yep.
Okay. Yep. So, can you tell me a little bit about, maybe you talked about that, I think we talked a little bit about what are the options of senior care.
Well, then it's really about how do we now kind of pay for it, really is what it boils down to. Because of those varying options, so we have the unskilled or the skilled at-home care. We'll have assisted living facilities. We're familiar with those. We've heard of them around the area, different homes. And then those facilities will stage up as to what level of care they'll provide, all the way up to what we call dementia care or Alzheimer's care units, which tend to be about the most expensive.
Because they probably need constant
24-hour, not only care themselves, but their facility is different because of the wandering issue, so they have to be protected from themselves. Okay. So, we have child safety locks at home. We kind of stage up from there. That's right. Exactly. So, but now that we've got an idea of what that's, what that looks like as potential, from a cost perspective, and in this area, that literally can run, as little as $25 an hour, okay, for some care on one end, all the way up to in excess of $10,000 per month.
Wow.
Okay.
That is a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. Yeah. And so you can see how it's very easy for someone who says, we've done very well. We've put away, several $100,000. But at $10,000 a month, you're going to go through that money pretty quickly. And it's that planning now to assess what do I have in the way of resources and how are they going to be utilized. And that's really what we have to talk about. So if we don't plan for that, you don't have to worry about that pile of money.
Well, that's a great point, because yes, we all think, well, we have all these assets and we are healthy, we should be fine, but when it comes down to it, many of us could need that care, and it's good to plan, just like we plan for health insurance, whether we need it or not.
Or car insurance.
Yep. So let's talk about who doesn't pay for long-term care.
That's a really good question, because a lot of people are under misconception as to where do I get money to do this. The first one oftentimes is disability insurance. People just automatically assume, well, disability insurance will take care of me. Disability insurance was designed to pay replacement income when you lost your job due to a disability. Well, when you're a senior, you didn't lose your job, did you?
It doesn't count.
And so that's right. Typically, those stop at 65. So that's the first one that doesn't pay. The other one is our medical and health insurance. So typically, those are designed for our doctor visits, for a trip to the emergency room because we broke a leg or an arm or a hip as we age. Okay, but they're not designed for a maintenance mode long-term care facility. Okay. They'll help with rehabilitation, and oftentimes we think of that as long-term care because we may be in a rehab facility for 3 months, recovering. But that's not long-term care, that's rehab. Okay. And then the last one that's also misconceived is Medicare. Okay. There's a difference. We've heard of Medicaid. Right. Medicare is the federal government program for healthcare and medical insurance. Okay, and again, it has a component of that rehabilitation component that we talked about. It's good for typically 100 days, but you have to be improving during that time, showing improvement to continue to stay in that facility.
So if you are not improving,
maintenance mode,
then it does not cover you for the 100 days.
It doesn't cover you anymore. That's right. It will stop at whatever point. They reassess, typically about once a week. The doctors are reassessing how you are progressing or not. And when you go into maintenance mode, that's when that stops.
Because we think, well, we have Medicare.
We're good.
So we're in good shape.
I have insurance. I have insurance.
You have
they just
insurance.
say that the word "I have insurance" just should automatically cover things. But there is a big difference between medical and health insurance and long-term care insurance.
So what I think many people then eventually end up, or could end up using Medicaid.
That's correct.
Which is totally different for long-term care.
That's right.
Medicare does not cover that.
That's right.
So how does that work?
Well, Medicaid is a form of insurance provided. It's federally funded with state funds as well. Okay, but it's state administered. It's a program that's state administered. So every Medicaid program will look and feel somewhat similar, but it will be individualized by the state. Okay, but it is specifically designed for long-term care. That's what it was designed for.
But to get Medicaid, I think you have to deplete a lot of your resources.
That's correct.
So, which I don't think most of us want to do, or don't plan to do. And I think planning ahead for long-term care is to help with your assets so that you don't have to deplete, but still be able to get the care you need.